Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? I pray all is well with each and every last one of you. We're going to come in and do a biblical tour on today. We only have 4 cards we're going to be utilizing. We only have 4 cards that we will be utilizing. And since this may be a little short, we're going to glance over some of the biblical scriptures that goes along with this, okay? All right, or either I just call it out to you and let you know so you can go and look up these scriptures as you may want to, okay? All right, so we are, we have the first one that talks about a pitch, all right? They talk about the pitch in Genesis, okay? Genesis chapter 6, verses 14, okay? And this particular verse, it really talks about Noah, okay, when God, okay, instructed him to build an ark, okay. Um, so he instructed him to build an ark, commanding him to use gopher wood, create rooms, and seal it inside and out with pitch, detailing the start of a great flood narrative, okay? And it says the verse begins to details instructions for the ark constructions, emphasizing divine guidance for survival. Okay, that's what it's talking about. Now, whether this is set up is just a setup. Okay. Or whether this is something that I had to already endure, okay. But however it is, it's going to be what it's going to be. All right? That's the way I feel about it. Because I feel like, these situations, they really don't even have to be like this. But people are choosing to have these type of mindsets, all right, when it comes to people's life. Okay? The next card we have is a divine rejuvenation. You can read about that in Colossians. You can read about it in Ecclesiastics. And you can also read about it in Galatians. We had this, I think, in the previous message that we did on divine rejuvenation. Okay. When I hear rejuvenation, I look at it as being a time of rest. Okay, not only rest, but just inner peace. A time for inner peace. All right. Let me see. Maybe if I add this one word, maybe it'll get me right there. Okay. All right. Okay. In the Bible, it often described as renewal, restoration, or regeneration, emphasizing God's strength and refreshing and transforming believers spiritually, mentally, and physically. Okay? And I think that's a good thing. Now, that is no problem with that. But with the pitch, it's like you setting up something for somebody to be able to uh, have some type of survival method. Okay? All right? And the only thing you got to trust on is what? Spirit. Like I said, I done went through that. If that's what the test I supposed to went through, I went through that test. And it was just like it's no different than a war. When a war is over, a war is over. A war don't keep going after a war is over. It should be no difference when it comes to the spiritual realm. When something is over, it needs to be over. And I shouldn't even been in no war. But you just saw me read this scripture when it talks about Noah. And if you know the story about Noah, that's just what they pretty much was doing. Trying to get to a place of survival. Next, you got the royal rule of love. Okay. Talks about that in James too. Okay. And I think right there, that's when they kind of want to talk about Rahab. They consider her as being what? Righteous. You can go to that verse. And the final one, we got Ammon. Okay. God of sky. King of the Sumerians. Okay. Talks about unseen, unheld figures or something like that. Read about Ammon, God of sky. So, Spirit, let's talk about these 4 cards, okay? We're into the biblical Tora for today. Let's talk about this pitch. Let's talk about pitch. We see a 6 of wands. That's just a confirmation when something is over, all right? It's over, okay? 6 of wands just really telling me, okay, it's done with, okay? That's really what I see right there. Do I need to put some more on that, Spirit? I don't feel like I need to. Let's go to the divine rejuvenation. I don't think Spirit needed me to put no more on it. That card speaks for itself. And then we got a 5 of cups. All right. And what we said, this supposed to be, hold on. Hold on. I don't want to bring it back. Let me go back, you guys, because I want to read it because I'm going to tell you the card we got here. Give me just a second. Okay, I said that in the Bible is described as what? Renewal, restoration, or regeneration, emphasizing God, strengthening, refreshing, and transforming believers. What it said, transforming. Not staying in the same old loop, not teaching the same old scriptures, not staying in these same patterns. It says transforming, which this is telling me this is not being done because what? You got a 5 of cups. Because what? Many people are not doing just, they are not transforming. But you want to come against somebody that's trying to do what? You got a 6 of wands over here. This speaks volume already. People are being led the wrong way. They're being led the wrong way for a reason. Because when you don't have the right peoples in position, that's what tends to happen. They go the wrong way when they don't know the plan, when they don't know the destiny, when they don't know the ins and out of what Spirit is telling you, when they don't know the ins and out of things. Let's go to the third one. We got royal rule of love. Okay. It talks about, again, Rahab. Okay. She was considered as being righteous. Okay. People can call it how they want to call it. The Bible call her one way, but Spirit say Rahab wasn't that type of one. Let's talk about it. 5 of Pentacles. was Rahab? Besides not having funds, maybe she could have been in poverty. Okay, but it says what? Royal ruler love. But she still know how to have love in her heart. Love in her mind. Love in her soul. Love in her spirit. Even though she was left out. Even though she may have been like a castaway. Even though she may have been poor. Or however, but she was rich in spirit. She was proven righteous, justified by her actions. Okay? That's what it says here. You got a 5 of Pentacles. Let's go to the final one. We got Amy. Now, I don't think this particular person is in the Bible. But however, we'll see what we see. I added some of these additional gods just because of how I was feeling when I was going over some of these. Because I had to make new cards. Because I don't have the usual ones that I had when I first started doing the biblical tours. So we got Amy. Let's briefly talk about Amy. Okay. All right. He is identified as she. It's a she. It's not a he. It's a she. She is identified as the goddess of gods and primary creator, deity in the skyverse. Okay. But in the Bible, but right here it says a king. From where I got the information, it said it was a king. Right here, what I'm saying right here, now it's saying it's a goddess. That's a one. It says embodying goodness, light, and love. Didn't we not just talk about that? Goodness, guidance, and love. Tell me about it. You got revolution. That's the biblical tour for today. And all I can say is all praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. So Most High, what's your final word on this? You got the star. You got the nymph of wands. And you got the mystic here. You got 3 and 1 in this vessel. Not no 3 and 1 with nobody else. On one vessel with 3 spirits within myself. Nobody else. And all I'm going to say is all praises to the Most High. That was today's biblical tour. Now, we're going to come back, Spirit. we're gonna talk about the government. We're gonna check in with a government reading. I'll be right back.